Let's begin by closing our eyes and coming to a comfortable posture. Feel free to adjust your posture anytime. Notice patiently waiting for the sound of the gong disappear. It would also help us to take a deep breath in, your shoulders going all the way up and dropping them. Do this a couple of times so you start feeling the way the relaxation settles in your body. Another deep breath in, dropping your shoulders now. Exhale. One more time. Doing that a couple of times. Asking your body if your body is comfortable. Your feet up. Wiggle your feet, your toes. Notice the soles of your feet. Slowly going upward. Your ankles. Adjust the muscles of your shin bones. Your knees. Thigh muscles. Sitting bones. Up your spine, lower back, mid back, and upper back. Keeping a straight line all the way up to your neck and adjusting your neck as well, allowing it to rest. On the other side of your back, you'll notice your breathing patterns, chest rising and falling, your abdomen rising and falling as well. And your shoulders rising and falling gently. And that is actually a natural rhythm of your breath. Now to your face, nostril, where air goes in and comes out. Your eyelids, basically thousands of muscles there. Now beginning to relax your forehead and top of your head, back of your head, left ear, right ear, the entire part of your body up above your neck. Now your sides, the hands and their position, not too tight, not too loose, not too leaning backward or forward, just keeping an upright position. You hear sounds, your awareness is resting, and equanimity kicking in as you do this exercise. There's also not knowing what will arise next. Every moment is very, very different. Feelings come and go, some difficult, some neutral. Some thoughts, if you pay attention, million things are happening. Sense of this atmosphere, sense of calming bodily sensation. Let us apply mindfulness to your breathing. Mindfully you breathe in through your nostrils all the way down to your lungs. There's this air filtration process. Some of it is known to us, some we don't know how. Once air goes in, the body, the biology takes care of the rest. This unconscious process has given us life, ability to do things, energy and everything, good health. This is arising a sense of gratitude, this thanksgiving. Mindfully, you breathe in, mindfully you breathe out. And that means your attention may be focused on where the air touches your skin inside your nostrils and staying there observing the airflow happening right now, not in the past, not in the future. It is a process that is happening at this very, very moment. When your mind wanders away, you come back to your inhaling and exhaling, gently placing your attention there and staying fully present with that experience of breathing. You may as well notice the starting point of your breath and the ending point of your breath. When the breath becomes a delightful experience, mind may take delight in staying there with it. Okay, hope you had a good meditation. This morning, I've been thinking of this. I'm not going to talk about it, but I Googled because I did not know the answer. Is Buddhism against psychedelics? What Buddhism thinks about psychedelics. And then I saw somebody talks about, is Buddhism against pleasure? And the answer there was very brief, but I like the way they responded to that question, that Buddhism says that there is no end to satisfying our desires. And that is true. And same with pleasures, any pleasures that we, except for meditation pleasure, or the pleasure of attaining nibbanā, I believe. But those are not constructs. The last one is not a construct. The nibbanā pleasure is not a mind-made thing. And that is a philosophical question. But the rest, the way that pleasure works, especially with drugs, the body asks for more and more and more, and it kills people in the end. And what next? So then teachings of the Buddha put people into a cycle of birth and death, and there is continuity after that for them, new form of body. And it's hard to know if they are in a delusion afterwards, especially if they died overdosed. I have not developed meditation enough to know what happened to them after death. But it occurred to me in this meditation that there have been monks who can cure an illness through meditation. Someone goes and talks to the monk and says, my sister has this problem, and so she's not even in front of the monk, but somehow the monk is able to. So that is a different kind of meditation, which not everyone is able to do that kind of thing in meditation. Anyway, so the way mind works is very important in terms of understanding pleasure in Buddhism. As I was telling in yesterday's midday meditation, something like, please don't imagine the gross aspect of it, that when two people hit each other, they close their eyes. And if you think about it for a moment, it is the imagined person they kiss. It's a mind construct, that the illusion that it is the image of this person in your mind, that, and then the pleasurable feelings or stuff, and then you are controlled by those feelings. So that illusion that the mind creates is everywhere, is everything. And less gross example would be to think, when you think about your mom, she exists. In what form? An image of a mom, or not necessarily an image, it's just a concept of the mother. And but what we imagine and what she is doing right now are two different things. So we live in an illusion that she exists another time. She's on her own, doing her own things, and if she's right in front of us, even then, we only see what we created of her in our mind. There's a delay in processing the image of her, first of all, how an image is perceived through seeing. And there is also never seeing. It's only a mental image that we keep seeing. Image that we form based on the outer. So same with hearing, smelling, and everything in the world. Very, very delicate thing to know. But truth lies in that area somewhere. There, an imaginary world that we have built is somehow based on these desires, delusions, and those desires as dislikes, things that we don't like, we refuse them. So our world is based on that. But I opened this because this came to my mind. The Buddha says something like vanaṃ chindatha rukkhaṃ. Don't cut the trees, but kill the forest. This is. Have you heard of that? Yeah. So, okay, let's learn from that today. It's the story of 5 old monks from Dhammapada, verses 283 to 284. The Pali goes as vanaṃ chindatha rukkhaṃ vanato jāyatī bhayaṃ chetvā vanañca vanathañca nibbanā hotha bhikkhavo yāvaṃ vanato na chijjati anumatto'pi narassa nārisu paṭibaddhamano'va tāva so vaccho khīrapako'va mātari. So the English is, you understand all Pali, right? The wood cut down the wood, but not a tree. Since it is from wood that fear is born. Having cut wood and woodedness, O monks, be without a wood. So wood here means, desires. The wood cut down, but not a tree. Actual trees, don't cut them, but the wood of craving. Because craving brings about fear. Fear of losing, fear of not being able to prove, or fear of making mistakes, all kinds of fears. Having cut wood and woodedness is the nature to crave. O monks, be without wood, be without craving. As long as there is woodedness of a man to a woman, as long as that woodedness, that nature to crave is not cut, the bondage arises. It's like between a mother cow and a calf. They each seek one another. So let's read more. Well, I will also read the simple translation here. O monks, cut down the forest of defilements, but do not cut down the trees. Fear comes from the forest of defilements. Clear both the forest and the undergrowth. Having done this, achieve the state of nibbanā. So this undergrowth is, again, the woodedness, that there is sleeping defilements. At the end of meditation, we may think that, oh, we are free from craving and now I'm in nibbanā, but there is sleeping. We put them to sleep, but they arise when conditions arise. That's the danger. The next, as long as a man's mind is attached to women, even minutely, like a little undergrowth that has not been cut down, so long will his mind be attached like a suckling calf to its mother cow. So that is showing the biological nature of things, that there's nothing to blame here. Hormones working, desires working, it's just the the way the world works, the way the world is designed to work. That the mother son, mother calf. There are other mothers in the entire universe, like sloth and the sloth baby. They each have that bondedness. I've seen these videos of how, they grab onto each other. For us, it may be an ugly thing. For some people, it's not actually. But the ugliest thing to us is not ugly to like between dogs, and only rarely someone would put their mouth and kiss a dog, but it's just gross to us. But between their groups, it's not, between dogs, it's not like that. So it's desire, but nobody knows how that bonding works. I mean, it's just biology. Anyway, there's a story, because the more I talk, it gets weirder. So I better read the story.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So something I've been thinking about recently is, and you were talking about, at the beginning, like fabrication, or the idea that, the picture of the mom or the picture of anyone else is like something that we create.
Yeah.
I struggle with the word fabrication, which I think is a word that a lot of people in Buddhist communities use, because there's like, to me, there's some like negative connotation of that, which I think I understand why that word is used, but it also is like some of that fabrication, at least from my experience, is like useful. In that, like, when I am most defabricated, or whatever that means, it's like you can't really act from that place. In that, when I like completely drop stuff, like it becomes like hard to act, I guess. And so I'm kind of curious to get your thoughts on. It does feel that like there is fabrication that is quite useful, and I struggled with the idea that it's like all about like getting rid of fabrication. When it feels like there is fabrication that is, or there is like simplification is maybe a different word that I think I connect with more than fabrication. And that like it is impossible to fully know my mom. Like that's like not something I'm ever gonna fully know. But some amount of like simplification does seem to make it possible to like be compassionate to her. Versus like always striving to fully know her. Yeah. That's just something I've been thinking about that I'm curious.
very useful question. Some of the things in the universe is not known to us, and I believe there is a reason for that, like our past lives, or ability to read someone's mind. Unless you develop certain abilities, you are not able to access them in this life. Life ends before you even develop any of those skills. And fabrications, the Pali word for that is sankhara. And sankhara also has a negative meaning to it, that it is sankhara, the mental construct that runs the world. In that there's, I think, understanding in Buddhism that those are needed for conventional life. That mental constructs and doing the right thing, for example, making right decisions, meeting right people, engaging in an occupation, all these things require a certain fabrication. And being able to act quickly also is part of this. We can't empty our mind and go to a job and say, "Oh, I don't know you." What email? That is impossible. That will be the last day of your work. There's also, of course, I don't think I would ever want to know fully my mom, right? That is also not something it feels like invading her life. So we know that. We all respect her for the mother. And but when it comes to enlightenment for monks, not necessarily for lay people, actually, we need to draw a line there. That some of these teachings speak to those who are very seriously cutting delusion, and they are either monks or close to that state. Monks not just in body but also in mind. Their desire is to know the fabrications fully well, and especially seeing the delusion behind them, ignorance behind them. When you really know the ignorance, any delusion behind anything, the desire is not so strongly present in our mind. It vanishes. There's no way that desire can stay for certain. It's like, again, children, cars. You wanted them so badly when you were little, and now you know more about them, and I will give one to you. I say, why do you give this to me? It's painful. Now that you have one more thing that is given, and the way that you look at it, oh, it's something that Bhante Kusala gave to me, so I should keep it. So it's not the same value that you gave to it as a child anymore. It's a different value. So these are fabrications that are harmless, but there are ones that can be harmful to us. And all of that is mind-made. This is why in the Buddha's teaching, the Buddha says, chittena niyati loko. Loka is the world that mental world that we each have built, it is run by the chitta, the mind. So that uncovering the nature of this mind and delusion that the mind, shows to us, in that fabrications, learning about fabrications, how they are built and how we can see their true nature, it's important to us. It becomes important to us. I think when you start to see a couple of fabrications, major ones, lust, hatred, delusion, then you can apply it to everything else and see, oh, that's so true, that's so true, that's so true. And the way that it works, that understanding works in us, is that you are more equanimous, you are not acting in anger, you are seeing the truth behind this, that even when someone uses abusive language directed at you, you don't really get shaken by it. Because it's what your mind makes of it that affects you. To a Buddha, though, he did not have Devadatta, his cousin, as an enemy. It was just, it didn't cross his mind that way, because he did not construct an enemy in his mind. There's so much power that you can gain about the world that is full of delusion, otherwise full of delusion. And that is very powerful. And he was able to direct it to other directions for helping people and so on. Not only a Buddhist thing, though, it is found in other saint traditions that they develop their minds. Some learned it very naturally, easily through less meditation, but some need to do a lot of meditation to do that, to be able to do that. Did I answer any of your questions?
You did for me. You did for me. Well, something that I took away from what you said, I don't know if you said this or not, but this is what you inspired in me, was that when you see something as mental construct, it has less power over you, and that allows you to then have the ability to move in a way that is less driven by that mental construct. And so if you are then to take up that mental construct, you're able to apply it in a skillful manner, as opposed to being driven because you don't understand the mental construct.
Yeah, very, very much so. Especially dealing with anger, for example. When anger is gone, that is a really good life, good sleep, good waking up. Less frustration about the place you slept or the mattress or whether it is the floor or anything under a tree, it doesn't matter, because the mind is not complaining. Yeah. It feels like a dream state to be, but people did that. It's over. And when I started, of course, at 16, I was very clashing with my dad, not listening to him, and then at that age I became a monk. I can't have that attitude toward him, and now it has changed over the years, like anything else. But the way he's a Buddhist monk now, and he hated me when I became monk for 5 years. He did not talk to me, but now he is one. And the way that we have bonded is very different. His meditation and my meditation and our understanding have transformed us to be very different beings in each other's minds. Not that it's a fairy tale all the time, but we can notice easily when it gets difficult, we step back and give space to that. Yeah. Anyway, maybe I will not get to read the story here.
Sorry.
No problem.
Kusala, can I ask what led to you becoming a monk?
Dukkha, suffering, seeing suffering everywhere, and also seeing happy monks, smiling and happy monks. But after I became a monk, I know they were faking it. There's a lot of dukkha as a monk also. Like Ajahn Brahm says, when he was a novice monk, he thought he should be a big monk, so he will not suffer like a novice monk. And then he became a big monk, he started seeing big monks suffering. So suffering takes more the other. That's true actually. Monks smile and they do that, they are pleasant to people, but there is a lot of suffering underneath. And they are working on it. Study suffering and, community suffering and maintaining a temple suffering. It's more than a household sometimes. Only you start noticing. But not to discourage you to become a monk. It's a good life.
Extending the porch suffering.
Extending the porch suffering. We enjoyed it a lot though.
Really?
Yeah.